Sure, I wave the American flag. Do you know a better flag to wave? Sure, I love my country with all her faults. I'm not ashamed of that. Never have been, never will be. John Wayne. Are you a patriot? Are you patriotic? Most Americans would answer that question with a resounding yes. But what does it really mean to be patriotic? Thomas Jefferson once told a young boy who had been named after him to love your neighbor as yourself, and your country more than yourself. A patriot is someone who loves his country, who is willing to sacrifice for his country. And yes, a patriot is someone willing to lay down his life for his country. Are there many Americans nowadays who love their country so much that they are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for its sake? Former Reagan speechwriter Peggy Noonan thinks there are, but also fears that their numbers are steadily diminishing. In a lecture to the Heritage Foundation, she observed that we are living through the beginning of what I think is post-patriotic America. The ties that bind still exist, but they're growing frayed and tired and attenuated. She went on to indict our educational system for no longer fostering a sense of patriotism. Nobody's really teaching our children to love their country. They still pick it up from their parents, from here and there, but in general, we've dropped the ball. The schools, most of them, do not encourage patriotic feeling. Small things. So many of them do not teach the Pledge of Allegiance. Bigger things. They do not celebrate Washington's birthday and draw pictures of him and hear stories about him as they did when we were kids. There is no Washington's birthday. There's President's Day, which my 11-year-old son was once under the impression is a celebration of Bill Clinton's birthday. Beyond that, the teaching of history has changed and has been altered all out of shape. My son is instructed far more in the sins of racism than in the virtues of Abe Lincoln. There's a school in Washington, and I almost moved there so my son could attend, that actually had pictures of Washington or Lincoln on the wall. On the wall of my son's classroom, they had a big portrait of Mexican artist Frida Kahlo. And yet, there have been moments in our recent history when we have all set aside the pseudo-sophistication of post-patriotic America and come together as one in defense of what conservative thinker Russell Kirk called the permanent things. Remember back to where you were on that horrible 11th day of September 2001, when the news of those terrorist attacks on our country ripped the needle off the record of your day. Were there any of us mourning, angry, saddened, or gripped by any of the multitude of emotions sweeping the nation who thought of ourselves as Democrats or Republicans first? As the dust cleared and the tragedy began to sink in, was there anyone not feeling a sense of pride upon hearing the news that, despite the confusion and potential danger, our government, the House of Representatives, was gavelled into session by then Congressman Porter Goss to show those responsible that they could not destroy us? The House was only in session long enough to hear this prayer from Father Jerry Creedon. Quote, God of peace and life, send your Spirit to heal our country. Bring consolation to all injured in today's tragedy in New York and Washington. Protect us and help our leaders to lead us out of this moment of crisis to a new day of understanding and peace. Amen. End of quote. A brief session, to be sure, but our government was in session, not running, not hiding. The fact that our representatives stood tall at that moment of confusion and fear and dared to enter that building, that chamber, assumed to be yet another target under attack, sent a message to the world that we would not be shaken, we would not cower, and we will not be defeated. That swell of pride you felt and feel is patriotism. American exceptionalism. Bred deep in the American psyche is the concept that the United States is a unique force for good in the world, a superpower that has not sought and does not seek to expand its borders through conquering and colonizing other lands. Secretary of State Colin Powell put it this way, and I quote, "We have sent men and women from the armed forces of the United States to other parts of the world throughout the last century to put down oppression."